Oh, where you watch? Look where you watch. Know where you watch. Choose the right thing to watch. And this enough to watch. Sticky Stucky Sweet TV with Keith Gargan, Facebook and YouTube. And that enough to watch. The movie star fly take off from Pelpa Time TV said that. Boom!
A big sound, a big tune.
Ja Holy Emmanuel, I boy. Ja Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, Gideon go busting out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and the ancient monarchy where come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon, well, the Gideon go busting out them head. I listen, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war, not every...
Blue, Mr. Gargan, blue. Blue till me dance up me toe.
Oh, somebody ball out one. Somebody say take them out. Lift your hand and say mighty God. Reverse them. Move them. Pull them out. Spray them out. Every cockroach. Every rat. Every criminal. Reverse them. Every chichi boy. Pull them out. Out of parliament. Every criminal, every scammer, every political scammer whose account can't count, all of them whose account can't count, back them out, spray them, they push them, some push up in our parliament, run them out, I drink out the milk, pull them out. Pull them out, mighty God, reverse them, indict them, mighty God, mighty God, mighty God, Holy Ghost, send a Holy Ghost, I spit them, deport them, out of God's house, some people in there, one get deported, back of the yard, send them back, Jezebel, Delilah, send them back at the yard. Ahab, send them back anywhere they come from. Kingston, St. Andrew, Portland, St. Mary. Me I go St. Mary.
Up and running, up and gunning. Sticky Stucky Sweet TV. Keith Gargan. Cassava, Passava, mind over matter. Up and running. Blessed Wednesday evening. To me, myself, and each and every one. Yeah, man. Well, anyway, I talk about something. I do a live last night. I show some black people. We're not getting better. Can you see prayer? Prayer not going to help us, you know. Never. So I'll just, because me always skeptical of them things there, you know. Because me want to pray. Me pray for myself. And that's the greatest prayer that, you know. When you pray for yourself, and you because that's what me do, you know. Me read the Psalms every fucking day, me get up. Right? And that's my prayer. But you know, man, I got to about, oh, you're going to make somebody pray for you. Because people use that as a tool or ammunition just to better off themselves. Because that people I don't know use God for certain reason. And nobody no wicked like them, you know. So these things not going to help. All them talk about pray for Jamaica and things like that. That is just a whole fashion thing, you know. Let me tell you that, you know. Because I say, you see black people, I talk about we, you know. Because me personally think we think a different way. Because black people is such and the same thing I go on in Jamaica now. That's why we divide it so much. And that's why the Labour Party cannot do that and get away with it for so long. And everybody stands still. Because them get a little handout. And it's like, I don't know, if a chip dip on them shoulder or whatever, them can't say nothing. Every country else in this goddamn world, youth and everybody, I make a stand. Africa everywhere you can think of. Europe, I make a stand and protest on everything and them get reward as well. Only in Jamaica, Jamaica never stayed so one time. Because you know, me do a video last night. Me have 1,675 people join me live. Because me talk some reasonable thing, truthful thing, evidential thing. And like here I make up the story, you know. What you have now. So the same thing I talk about. Nothing now go change we. Because you have some troller. Them get paid for do them things there, you know. Them go around a lot of people channel and do all kind of things. What they do yesterday, they report my channel and YouTube take them a video. Right? Take them a video. And because right now YouTube change up a way now, one time you're going to get to talk to people and explain your case. But now, it's AI. There's no human being control it again. So you talk to a fucking machine. So everything change up. Every day things change, you know. Some of us allow it. When them report me video for. Because you speak the truth, you burn some fire upon them, and you see the truth is there. And them take it up to upon them head. Find some clause to repeat true, might have really say, well then, I use certain words or things like that. As me say, it's not like one time, you know, have the human resources for you can talk to, type and send your appeal to them. So I'm not bother with it. But I'm going to try to show say, oh, black people sit here, you know, and all black people stay. Yeah, man. Devious. Me know that from a longer time, you know. As a man of the music thing, I mean, know all them people stay from a long time, and yet them talk about white man this and white man that. But work with a lot of white people. And then I really drop me short and nothing. We get the work when me pay for with them. They don't sabotage nothing. But black people, all we have pay them sabotage and run it down for money. So it's one big difference completely. And that me see I go on. So we now getting a better off. So all of them you say what one of Jamaica, God works, you know. But Jamaica now go change. Because even now, the government are moving slow, people are suffer, and people still defend them. But you know, me just have to talk my truth, and that's all it is. I'm not going to play with the video, you know. I'm going to do about the same video I did last night. Because I'm not going to really, me need to get, them can't put me down and get me confused and say, and win. Now, man, I'm going to do it again. So make them boys start report it again. But I'm going to do it one different way. Because you know what? God is great. And that's all I can say. God is great. You tell the truth. If they don't do the right thing, you don't have to come talk about them. You don't have to come talk about them, you know. But because we're a patriot for the country, so we have to talk about it. Them is nobody. Them are waste people on earth. Yeah, man. Waste people on earth who defend they defend the undefendable. Something like them can't defend. And them go all the way to take down, to report my channel, and them get a joy out of that. And, you know, they kind of see some things, you know. That's why I truly not really look on penetrate comment, you know. Because I prepare say one comment, a piece of shit. Hear the comment now, when I make no sense enough. You know, so well then, there are 1,657 people at participate in my life. And that one comment kind of draw attention, you know. I mean, look on it, you know. And the person there more than one time. Are you okay? What the fuck is that? Because you tell the truth. So they might tell you not for them way. They're not coming up bad language and nothing, you know. But are you okay? So they might tell you, so well then, because you tell the truth, for them word, they might use some diplomatic way. Are you okay? Because you tell the truth. So they might say, well then, something wrong with you. You have to laugh sometime, you know. So I don't really pay that no mind still. Because I don't really there pay. Every time black people I go at them, you know, is when them really, I go say something where, yeah, but I don't have time to waste on these people. But they go around, all channel them where we don't try to talk against the government when they do fuckery. And some of them, and who defend PMP, stand in this thing. And that's all it is. But me I tell you, black people, let me tell you something, man. Me don't know. When I go change, you know. And that's why I say, well, you know, go bring down Jamaica. Jamaica not go bring down itself, you know. Jamaica is a country. The leaders of the world. Because no rascal, the earth no lean, you know. The planet no lean. It's level fuck. But who lean? The leaders of the world are them lean. So you have some lean fucking leaders like Andrew Wallace who have a different agenda. And who no can't see it and not follow them. And who no make them strong, you know. So the world not so. But me personally, me alright, you know. Me alright. Yeah, man. I'm perfectly alright. So me not really you can't dampen my spirit. Dampen the spirit. You dampen the bomb whole self. That's all me can say. You can't dampen my spirit. No matter what you try. When you try hard some more, you can't dampen keep Gargan spirit. You just watch, you know. And that's all it is. Yeah. You just watch, you know. I'm looking for something here. Because there's a tribe shows how Jamaican people really operate. And not even Jamaican people alone, you know. You talk about black people on a wall. Yeah. And that's the rascal argument, black people on a wall. Yeah, man, black people on a wall. And nobody can go around that. Nobody can go around that. There will be something I have to play about, well on there. Where the fucking thing gone? I don't fuck up my thing, yeah, sure. I'm not sure blood clot. Yeah, man. People, Jamaica now go better off, man. Because the people make a country better off than the people. Right? Once the people them do the right thing, the country gonna go in our right direction. Believe you me. I mean nobody fooling, you know. It's gonna go in our right direction. So a people run the country. So when you allow a dictator and an evil spirit type of people, look on two persons around the country, woman and man, wife and husband, which is them not sleep together. Them relationship not good. But them bound to get them stick together just to get what them want and drain the country and mash up the fucking country. And who not follow them? But it's a tester go on. I'm gonna tell you black people, there are much rascal people me help, you know. See people can't come by me, woman, them not no bomber cloth light. But they not no rascal man to go to. Me not lie down with them. But I meet them come to you help them. Make them have fucking current and other things. And once them get that, then remember them things there. You know, see them again till when them need something. And them things them I try to show you. There's so much rascal people where me see me help, you know. And special man and woman, but especially mostly woman, because them and sometimes you look on them things, you know, you have to die. But you know, them know them blood class self, you know. And that's all it is. And it's still this is what you say I play out right now. You come and you do your video, you tell the truth, Because people that don't go there will talk about good. If it had nobody will talk about bad. But some people don't like it. Them troll you and go all to the extent fee. Report the channel. I hope them happy. But I'm saying them can't get me down. I got to do back my video same speed. Me no matter if I don't get back the first lad amount of viewers like last night. I give shit because I don't do it for the views anyway. But if you had come to a video and you talk shit and people are see it, them join the argument and listen, you know, that's okay. So I have 1,657 people. And somebody in the midst of that watch it, dirty trollers them, and find a way to report my channel. Because my channel was there and then little after we get the fucking notification, the channel breach community guideline, all this fuckery. Yeah? Yeah, man. These are the bomber club. Anyway, let's play one little video. What I talk about show so well, we black people. Come on, talk about us Jamaican alone, you know. We have a chip on my shoulder. African are the same thing. Because me have evidence for that. We fool. Not me, you know. Because below clad me, but like you're gonna have some rascal people. But you know, look, when people talk certain things, you know, and that's why I like we have evidence for sure. And it's really true. So hear this, people, hear this. And this is really facts, you know. Me I say this long time, because I sit up now a while. You know what me say happen already? Me now a market I deal with something, I buy something. And it's a self-serve. I think me I buy some avocado, or you call it, we're not talking about avocado, that English thing that. Pear. We know it as. So you know the pear is there, so you try to take the pear them up and look which the name is good. Because I like to buy a pear, when you shake it, it shake. That's my original thing. We know so well then. Once a pear shake, you gotta know so well then expect it's gonna be a good pear. When it's ripe, you cut it. But when a pear no shake, don't take no chance with it. So I go to the pear them and I try to shake them and see if I can find two good pear. This boy, Indian boy, come talk about, oh, so me like, you know, want me rascal, like him, me don't know, him there, it's a self-serve thing, you know. And then I have to just get up on him and say, well, look, don't ramp with me, because what you want me to do is check up anything and pay for it. I have to buy something and say, if it, me I know me I buy, because it's a self-serve. Why you have a problem with that? And from the side, just kick off. Bad. So I deal with him in one way. Bad. And him Indian friend him come blood clot about cool down and rate and lele. And one rascal black woman come there now at the start to come buy something. She don't know where I go on from Hadam, you know. She come hear the argument. I come from where she come from. I know what she started to do. Took up with the blood clot Indian man. As a black woman. Right? So that's why I'm saying me put a mark upon them things all the while. She started to take up with the worst-clad Indian man. And she don't know the argument how it start. And I'm in the right. She don't want to hear it. She come and dip on the Indian man's side. I'm say, look on you too. I'm give it to her too. Yeah. We give it to her to imagine. Any decent black people, that's what I say. The white people, them take up for them one another, they China them, but not we. We fight against one another for the white man or the Chinese. And that's why we stay in that position and in this bomber position. So no make nobody fool, you know. Those are the things that happened to me already. And that's why I know say in time when I talk something, I know it's true. Imagine a woman. You think me couldn't come and hear an argument and see my black brother, my black sister in an argument with an Indian man. I'm going to find out what first before we start to dip on the Indian man's side. Eh? So that we know that. That's how we stay. And that's how we now get better off. All right, listen to this. Because this is so truthful.
So the Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness, shares a conversation he had with another black man in Jamaica who had a conversation with one of the assistant managers of a Chinese wholesale club in Jamaica. And that young Chinese man said that black people are the most stupidest people to ever walk the planet. And he's going to explain why. Take a look at this.
The Chinese man just said to him that black people are the stupidest set of people that has ever walked the face of the earth. The Chinese said to him that there's no other race in the world more stupider than black people. And
True,
that's why
true.
black people is to the bottom of every economic ladder in the world. And they will never rise up. He told him, he said, this is a black country. And in this black country, a Chinese or any other ethnicity, any other race of people, whether it's Indian, Chinese, Arabs, and he went on, said, and they can come into a black country and they can set up a business next to a black person in a black country, and with the help of the black people, they will put the black man out of business.
Yeah, that's what they do.
When he highlighted the fact that black
Oh, I tell you,
I
man.
was in awe. But when he explained that to me, I must agree.
Of course you have to agree.
For another ethnicity to come to our land and tell us that we are the stupidest set of people that has ever walked the face of the earth, we would argue and get angry, but it's a fact. Because
Fucking
you can
facts,
set up
man.
a store no matter what your prices are. Once the Chinese are selling next to you, the Chinese will shop with the Chinese.
Of course.
If you set up a business,
Indian shop with the
Indian.
Indian.
Indians will first shop with Indians.
Uncle, we are bomber cloth loan.
Black people are the only race of people who will spend their money with another race of people who don't like them or who don't care about them. So I must agree with the young Chinese man. We are so far in that situation the stupidest set of people that has ever walked the face of the earth.
So,
Yeah,
Andrew,
man.
get on with the business of recovery. I will speak with you as a Member of Parliament for South St. James, a constituency that was directly in the crossbows of miserable Melissa. And then Zuleika Jess will tell
The
you
blood
of
clot
the
video, the people in
experience
blood clot
she
report
had
me
with
video.
her
For what?
constituents in St. Elizabeth.
Because them is fucking
I will
GLP.
also
That
speak
them
to
I
you
do.
about what's happening
All right.
in Westmoreland, Hanover,
Report
Trelawney,
this one again.
because the information that we're receiving from our representatives is too much.
Can't keep a
to
good
share
man
with
down, you
Jamaica.
know.
We will speak again when you can ask us questions at the end of the presentation. But for now, please welcome Mark Golding, the leader of the opposition.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Jamaica. Good afternoon, members of the media and all listeners. I want to begin by expressing my profound, heartfelt condolences to the families and friends of those who have lost their lives in this tragic hurricane or its aftermath. Our sympathies also extend very profoundly to those thousands, tens of thousands, perhaps hundreds of thousands of Jamaicans who are suffering at this time from the impact, the calamitous impact that this hurricane has had. And we are aware, of course, that there are levels of destruction. There's a large ground zero, as it's called, which is really the areas of Jamaica that were in the swathe of the hurricane when the eye hit in eastern Westmoreland, stretching into St. Elizabeth, stretching into the more westerly parts of Westmoreland as well, and then moving north into South St. James, parts of Hanover, and of course Trelawney and even St. Anne. The rest of Jamaica has also suffered damage, some of it before the hit of the hurricane. And so we can't leave them out, because there are communities all over the island where people are in a very difficult situation, whether it be due to no access with the roads being blocked or breakaways, landslides and so on. Our hearts go out to all who are in this dire predicament now. Now, I would say that this hurricane and its aftermath represent an existential threat to our society as we know it. People in life-threatening situations of isolation and deprivation mean that unless relief can reach them promptly and unless the necessary assistance can be found and distributed in an equitable and transparent manner to help them rebuild their lives, Jamaica is going to be facing very difficult times. And I think that point is not lost on anyone who is familiar with what is going on as I speak. In this context, we all need to pull together in unity.
I know, me notice as well, because my common sense lead me to a lot of things, Sometimes it's not even a troller do it, and report the channel, It's somebody who you know. Yeah, man. Because bad mind is really out there loudly, Yeah, man. That's why you see me not really. Me personally, they're on a different level. With people don't like how you move. People like you're successful. Your success where you're depend. You're different from them. You turn up on corner with them. Them don't like it. Because you get older, you grow, and you know that. And big up yourself again, Tamika, because you see you personally, you see me upon a corner where you say, chill out. You come around and say, you park your car, you say, go and get a hype on your car. And then, when you reach home, you phone me and say, one man like me with my collab, I do run this. I'm look on that, I'm take it Seriously. Yeah. So sometimes when the labor right them fucking wicked, that's why they go around and do troll the thing and try to them do that with so much cause me watch the people them do that with so much people. Report them things, compound them fit distract them all them things there. But sometimes it's same people them where you will give something when I'm hungry. Because people are successful over them things there, you know. Make me tell you that. Things that people do fuckery, appear hungry belly them and them there nothing regards towards them. You know? You know, so tell them before my bank. And because bank and things get tight now, they branch them all lockdown and things like that. So anyway, me online banking, it's easy for me. Phone them up to get some statement, for just do something. And then, you know, sometimes you talk to some of these people. Some of them is so horrible, you know. They just want to talk to you and get out. I don't know. Some of them is so nice. And when we book up on the nice one, them, you can't have a reasoning. So this lady come, somebody tell her if you really check out something for me, when last certain money pay in my account, some royalty, right? And things like that. And anyway, me share reason, and things like that. And then she find it in one different account. And then she'll show me what and what paying quarterly from certain time. And then me a question it and say, well then, you know, I don't know why that revenue is getting so low now. It's supposed to be higher than that. So anyway, it's PRS, MPCS. So she argued me and me and she argue. Once I argue, not in a rat, you know, but we are talk. Put it that way, we are talking. So she said, Mr. Vignal, what do you do? Because she cannot see the rake. Say, well then, all right, PRS, Performing Rights Society, and MCPS, Link with Music. She said, what me do? What should I ask what me do? She said, well, she asked if me something about it toward the music, so I tell her and things like that. And then from this, she start to reason. And this is how you look on things and know, say, well then, you say good people up there are successful people, them down on a little rascal, hanky-panky with you. The little nastiness them, same one where you help, at them will go look at your things and then report the channel something because they check so them can't bring it down because them can't do nothing more than them like a petty thing there, you know. And sometimes you have to laugh, you know. But you know, you're not gonna know who because them hide themselves as well. Because that's so secretly. But you know, those are things that come to mind. So it's not must be a GLP troller do it. Can be somebody where you know good where you help out all the while. Them are the danger, them are the one where you have to look out for. Who will try to clip your fucking wing if you don't smart. But they can't clip my wing. Because I'm always smarter than them. Yeah, man. I don't get trouble, you know, because I do back my the same speed. I mean, I watch rascal views neither. That's all it is.
To get Jamaica through this terrible disaster, this is a time to join hands and hearts, not just in words, but in deeds, so that the whole nation can feel part of responding positively to this devastating situation and the solutions that will help us to pull ourselves out of it. The opposition must not at this time be seeking to score political points as a political competitor of the government. This is not the time for the opposition to adopt that posture. And we are indeed trying our very...
And funny enough, my goal is say, well then, scoring point, political point, which is true. But if it was a GLP, that's what they would be doing right now. Yeah, man. That's the type of nature of the GLP. They behave like a school kids. they want to score as much point with them want. They're not busy about no disaster. You understand? But it's a PMP one different type of party. But you can't be too soft. You have to fight fire with fire. And that's all me I say. You're not kind of too soft. You have to come harder than that now. Because Juliet Wellness I tell big man to sit down and a lack of mic, that is definitely a evil double dictatorship. I go on. So PMP, when I have to get up out on the rascal socks now and start to make people, because we're not out there for we too, you know. And I'm soft talking. And that I don't do for an election, for them thief election, and that we not do, you know. When I shake them on, when I laugh with them, iggy when if it was Andrew Wallace and Labour Party, they would never in them type of thing like one I do. I mean, I like it. Yeah.
Very best to operate.
I don't like it
in the spirit
one
of
bit.
that. On the other hand, we must point out where there are areas of need and what we see as the priorities in relation to those needs, where we see weaknesses in the response mechanisms that need strengthening.
Weaknesses and wrongs.
Provide where we can.
Yeah.
Constructive.
Every just talk it as it is.
Suggestions to help navigate the country through this disaster. We must also demand transparency and fairness
in
the distribution of all relief.
And that now
relief must get to those who need it, prioritizing those who need it most, whether they be of whatever political color or whatever demographic group they may belong to. They are all Jamaicans, and they are to be treated equally in this time without any form of discrimination or tribal politics coming into it. And we want to stand for that. There can be no place for partisanship or profiteering by political insiders or others connected to them.
But that are going already. That are going already.
Governance, inclusive governance, authentic
that is going on already.
And everyone working together. I now move to some of the things that I wish to propose in this regard.
You know, suppose this was a demand it, brother. Demand it.
Prime Minister from last week, Wednesday, that he should establish a broad-based task force to be given the responsibility of governance oversight over the relief effort, the relief coming in, how it is dealt with, how it is distributed, not to manage that process on a day-to-day basis, but to provide oversight to those who are managing it. So there's some accountability for how it's done, and that accountability is being held by a broad-based group that can enjoy the support and confidence of the whole society, especially those who are suffering terribly now and no doubt fear that they may not be treated fairly or they may be ignored or overlooked in the response of the state to the crisis. I also think there needs to be a clear command structure for the actual day-to-day management of the response to the relief. And that should be led, in my opinion, by professionals in disaster management, not by politicians who do not know the ins and outs of responding to a disaster of this magnitude. And we should not be shy of seeking international support and help from persons who have career expertise and experience in this regard. Thirdly, we're going to need a Marshall Plan, a well-funded, broad-based plan for the rebuilding and reconstruction of large swathes of Jamaica which have been ravaged by this hurricane. That plan cannot be developed today, but it is vital that we prepare such a plan and that it have the inputs of persons who have the necessary skills and experience and knowledge to design a comprehensive, workable plan that can be executed efficiently and that can have the confidence of our international partners we are going to rely on heavily to provide the financial support for this. And in terms of more specific recommendations now, I have asked the Prime Minister to make an additional allocation of resources to members of Parliament so that they can mobilize communities and contractors to help with the cleaning up of communities that are currently in a state of devastation, clearing roads where necessary, cutting trees and the like. Until that allocation is made, members of Parliament are unable to respond to the needs of the people unless they happen to have some personal resources or access to dealing with it outside of the public system, and many do not have that. I would also say that the process of engaging contractors to do that kind of work should be simplified and made easy for members of Parliament, especially in those areas where there's very limited connectivity and where following the normal bureaucratic processes that are required would be very challenging or impossible for members of Parliament. If contractors have a TRN, whatever the allocation is, there should be invoices, and those invoices can be submitted, but the work should be able to begin. Secondly, we note and agree with the decision to suspend the imposition of import duties and import GCT on disaster relief items coming into Jamaica. However, we believe that the period for which this has been announced is too short, because the time it takes to mobilize funding and make the necessary procurement abroad, the logistics, etc., of getting it shipped to points on land where they can then be shipped or flown to Jamaica takes some time. And to have it cut off by the end of this month is too short. And it's also not clear from the announcement that was made whether goods in transit to Jamaica will get the benefit, even if they haven't landed here at the time of the expiry of the window. I'm suggesting that we recast that window in a way which is more realistic, given the situation that we face. I also think we need an evacuation plan urgently for persons who are without shelter. That needs to be well thought through so that persons can be moved to places of safety where whatever form of accommodation can be erected to support them, whether it be tents or something else that can be put in place, and they can have access to the basic means of survival in an organized way. And that is necessary because right now we have people, many Jamaicans, who are exposed to the elements, including babies, including children, including the elderly, including persons with disabilities, and they need to be moved to accommodation which protects them from the ravages of the elements going forward. Those are my thoughts, and I'm now going to hand over to the next MP who is going to address more specific concerns in their particular constituency. I thank you.
Thank you, Party Leader. Greetings all. I'm Isa Buchanan, MP for Portland Eastern, also the spokesperson for Youth and Human Rights. I speak on behalf of the people on the eastern side of Jamaica. I'm setting the context to say that equity in distribution is going to be an important theme if we are to ensure that all persons in Jamaica are not excluded or left out, but rather inclusion. Now in Portland, this is a direct message from the constituents. Port Antonio is not all of Portland. So in saying that, I want people to understand that there was devastation in Portland Eastern. In particular, the Fellowship Division, which is a valley area, Melissa did serious damage in that area. There are persons who, the roofs are all gone. It's similar in the Manchanial division. So there are persons who are homeless as we speak. I raise this in the context that persons have an ability to try to survive. They try their best to ensure that they move on with their life. It's almost an innate ability these days. But I want the government to understand that when persons are building back their houses and just taking up zincs that probably don't even belong to them to ensure that they have a roof over their heads, they can't wait. It's impossible to wait until somebody comes to say, okay, I see the damage. We will process your claim and then give you some support. That support is in the sum of $50,000, $100,000, $400,000 if it's complete.
That can't do nothing.
And if you are a Jamaican and you want to be a
you buy
homeowner,
two
you
door
know
that and two window it down.
$400,000 will never be able to put you back in the position that would make you a homeowner or in livable, humane conditions. So when I speak of equity of distribution, although Melissa didn't hit at ground zero in the east, we are an island surrounded by water, especially if you're a coastline parish like Portland, Eastern, St. Thomas, Portland, Eastern and Western, all of Portland and all of St. Thomas. But if we speak of the constituency, I'm not going to sit here or stand here and say that MPs who are not in those ground zeros aren't affected, because we all are. As it is right now, we are a country where resources are scarce. The opposition leader would have reached out to the Prime Minister and there was an allocation. What does that allocation look like? I can only tell you from the lived experience that from a human rights perspective, if you get $1.5 million, that amounts to no more than 600 care packages and probably 22 tarpaulins. Why am I speaking on this? Because it would mean that if you are a member of parliament and you had persons voting for you in the amount of 8,000 plus persons, these are persons that have been affected, and whether you know it or not, it's not just the elderly, it's not just women and children. They are able-bodied persons who live day to day. And I'm just using that as a starting point because I'm saying this. It is not the time to be political. You can't see color. You can't see political parties. You have to understand that on a human rights plane, the needs of everybody will be important. And we might not know it now, but what Friday will look like in terms of how you source your meal, it won't be a laughable situation. We must look at what is happening across Jamaica. And while we start to think of how resources are distributed, I will yield to my senior, Natalie, Comrade Natalie, to speak about distribution and all of that. But what I will say, though, is what is of great importance is that we are to go to the bare minimum and think of the human rights realities. There are persons who are ill, who their medication has to be on the refrigerator. They need energy and they don't have it. So 7 days have passed thereabout, and that medical access is not a reality, because I've heard Portland is not a priority. I've heard that, and that is a sad reality, because I have the evidence in terms of looking at the photos, the pictures, being on the ground in Manchanial, being on the ground in Reach, being in Fellowship. I'm just naming a few: Bellevue, Comfort Castle, Millbank, where there are just total devastation, disaster. Persons who are from the disabilities community, the disabled community, and they don't have a home. The shelters aren't in operation. It's not a continuation of it. Persons have to go far places. So I need people to understand that. And when it comes to the distribution, Yes, ODPEM is there. The Ministry of Labor and Social Security and care packages are going out, but I want you to quantify the reality. Is that if you have 300 care packages, that can just go to even one community.
Yeah.
And it will, while I stand
It's
as a
nothing
member
that,
of
yeah, the
Parliament
peer
of
monkey thing
Portland
I deal with.
Eastern, and I
Peer monkey thing
can
I deal
do
with.
so
But
much
I tell you,
and no
these
more with
people,
the
man,
resources. And I understand
I play
when
politics,
it comes
man.
to the concept of support Jamaica and funneling all resources through the government. That is an impossibility and not realistic. So much so that I have gone on by taking guidance from the diaspora to start a GoFundMe. And it is the diaspora from Portland and persons who are concerned that have raised funds for me to be able to do things that the government is not yet prepared to do. I will just say, think of every single person, because that is my duty as a humanitarian, as a human rights attorney, and even as a spokesperson as for human rights and youth. And I will make a compassionate call to all members of Parliament that we are to work collectively through our offices. I will reach out to anybody that's close by, because I get the calls that my family is stuck in Westmoreland and I haven't heard of them. Same for St. Elizabeth, because we're all Jamaicans and we all have relatives across the island, and we are to think on those things. And when we think of equity of distribution, let nobody be excluded. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Salika Jess, Member of Parliament for Northeastern St. Elizabeth. There has been quite a lot of attention being paid to Southern St. Elizabeth. Unfortunately, Northeastern St. Elizabeth has been left devastated by the passage of Hurricane Melissa. It has been almost 1 week since the hurricane, and regrettably, not one government official has actually visited Northeastern St. Elizabeth. Now, this is a constituency that has been
that is clearly politics I'm playing now. Not one government minister. Imagine that. So they want to just keep them supporter happy, because that them use and hold them, food, and now it's a hurricane, so they want to just, all these aid they never get, they want to block the PNP out of it. And they want to say they can keep them fan base happy. And that's all them doing, playing politics. We should not call it politics. Yeah. It's a goddamn disgrace and shame. Eh? This is the lowest of the lowest, Because this is a disaster zone where everybody get hit. Both PMP, both Labour right. People vote for Labour right, people vote for PMP. So it's an even Steven thing. So why them try to fight and deny certain people or one side of people? Can't allow it to happen. And it's not going to happen. We have to mash it down. That's why I say the PMP they're supposed to talk harder than that. Talk. Don't be a dog without no teeth. Come on now. Yeah.
We're talking about entire communities that have lost their roofs, lost their homes. Communities such as Thornton, Windsor, in the Silo area, Bagdale Mountain. There are entire communities where absolutely no home was spared.
Yo.
When you look at the devastation, we're not just talking about it from the home perspective. We're talking about the road network, or roads, especially in the interior of the constituency, have been substantially and completely damaged. We have roads which have burst open, leaving craters almost 20 feet deep. I have communities which have been marooned. There's no way for them to enter or exit. I have residents reaching out to me to say that they can't get out of their community and they have elderly persons who need to see a doctor and they can't leave. I went in search of a community yesterday known as Maribo, and I spent over 2 hours driving around and could not find the community of Maribo. I say all of this to say to you that the devastation has been extremely great in northeastern St. Elizabeth. And as a member of parliament, I have reached out to the government for assistance in getting persons who are marooned access so that they can actually leave their communities or enter elsewhere. I have been told by the government that as a member of parliament, I cannot engage with private contractors to have their roads cleared or to have their roads put in a place where they can leave or enter their community. And so I have been faced with a difficult decision where I have to choose whether I obey the rules as they currently stand, in which case it means that residents will be left stranded and trapped and unable to leave, even in cases of emergency. People will not be able to have access to food, water, or I make the other difficult decision, which is to go against the government's dictates and actually engage contractors to put together the roadway as best as possible so that access can be had. I have chosen the latter. And so I hope and I pray that the government will actually make some allocation available to members of parliament.
Yeah, they're supposed to do that. Sabotage, man.
I am calling on the government
Andrew Wall is a wicked boy, you know.
Of parliament to engage with us.
Wicked, evil, big nose cunt.
To help the people who are depending on us because they don't have the numbers for the government ministers. They have the numbers for their members of parliament, and they're reaching out and begging and crying out for help. I'm asking that the government consider making an allocation, particularly to the members of parliament in the deeply affected communities, constituencies, where it's not just a case of clearing the roadways, it's a case of actually engaging professionals who can fill the gaps and the craters and make a way where there is no way, even if it is just on a temporary basis. The hurricane has wreaked substantial damage, and it's important that there is equitable distribution of resources. I have received only 150 care packages from the government for distribution.
That's nothing.
That doesn't even last one lane in one community. Because
well, I mean, I tell it to Rascal, no.
In most communities. So it's not just the elderly or the disabled.
They're really wicked, you know.
Everybody who is
look at the woman constituency big.
And so I'm calling on the government to engage as a matter of urgency so that the relief that
this is deliberately, you know,
can be had. Thank you.
And that's why I say the PMP them too soft.
So I will speak of the experience from St. James, and after which Dr. Dawes will speak about the health crisis and Natalie about coordination. When last I checked, we lost 5 lives in South St. James to Hurricane Melissa. And
5 lives.
Not only as
5 too much.
A person reading or hearing about what's happening in South St. James and in Jamaica, but as someone from South St. James who was on the ground from Wednesday. I left the constituency last night this morning at 2 a.m. to be a part of this press conference because as the chief spokesperson for the people of South St. James, I think it is my duty to get out of the
What the fuck BOJ do, man? Like them is part of the conspiracy too, you know. Because when I deal with government, them things not going like this. Not distorting.
The other 4 constituencies share the other 48%. We're vast. We meet Westmoreland, Hanover, Trelawney, and 2 other constituencies, West Central and East Central St. James. To enter the constituency, traditionally we use 5 different routes. We have only
Lot
been
of
able
place.
to clear
You have to
one
go through
route
some little hills
into
and
South
mountain,
St.
you know.
James, and
Yeah.
that is through Long Hill to Anchovy Mafuta, Barnet Bush to take you up to Garland's Moko Maroon Town, or you go right at Fern Plum, Cambridge, to go as far as you can until you're stopped by downed power lines, poles, landslides, and rivers. Yes, the Seven Rivers has taken the road we have in the Bickerstead Copperwood plantation area. We still have communities that are marooned and do not have access to food. And when I say no access to food, what I mean is that when we advised them to go to a shelter like the shelter at Cambridge High School, we told them that we were advised by the government that food would come after the storm, which was a mistake because some went in from as early as Monday of last week and they have not had food up till now. We were able to send a little boat across, a little blow-up boat across the roadway to get to some, and they got food for one night because the boat couldn't hold much more. We have seen the helicopters flying in the sky above us in South St. James, but most times they're going to St. Elizabeth or Westmoreland. They're going to the sexy places where disaster grief is big profit and big public relations opportunities. In South St. James, we're farmers, we're humble people, we don't like to beg, but I'm appealing on our behalf because we need urgently food for our people who are marooned in places like Catadupa, in Jungle, in Awful Gully. We're calling for help for people in Retrieve, where we join Eastern Westmoreland, because they were only able to get their dead out of the community just 2 days ago. We're asking to have the health authorities come in because the cows are still floating, the goats are still floating in the waters that have taken and submerged communities like Spring Bottom in the Roehampton area. 2-story high houses are still underwater. We have a coaster bus, you know the height of that is still submerged along the roadway to Cambridge. Based on my estimation, over 70% of the housing stock, the business, the livestock, the agriculture has been lost in South St. James. And when I go to the community, I don't know what to say to them because they ask me, MP, you see my house, it was right here, it's no longer here, what do I do? I tell them that I have not yet gotten word from the government, right? To tell us how we're going to help them to rebuild and to get their lives back together, right? So, we're not asking because we are greedy. We're asking because the collaboration and the coordination on the ground is not reaching our people in South St. James. When I'm able to bring 2 bags of food like I did last night to the school at Malden High, they were not able to make breakfast this morning because it could only last 1 day. I'm asking you to help us to airlift some food into the communities, to get the sick people out of the homes and into the hospital. We have some pregnant mothers we were able to get to the hospital at Cornwall Regional just yesterday. Her baby was not moving anymore in her belly, right? We have an urgent need in South St.
That's a wicked that them lot labor right go on with, you know. And look at this a bomber wall big nose of smile.
And we want to get back with our lives.
Yo, me I tell you, you know. I sabotage the people them. Anyway, was Omar Davis there. I never lose him seat. That would never happen. Them people are deliberate. Oh, you can't run politics like this, brother.
Because the mosquitoes are killing us already.
And then they sent me and said that the people them cause that, you know. And then now rebel. But I bet you're not going to start to rebel now. Don't worry.
Dr. Alfred Dawes, Member of Parliament for South East St. Catherine and Shadow Minister of Health.
Come on,
as well.
BOJ, man. What kind of fucking distorting things this?
Jamaica,
For a
it
big
was a
rascal
catastrophic natural
television.
disaster. If we continue on this path where the government maintains hegemony over the distribution of aid and access to the most vulnerable communities by volunteers, if they try to do it alone, we will have an even more catastrophic man-made disaster. We are seeing a humanitarian crisis unfold before our very eyes. Ground Zero was in eastern Westmoreland, a parish that I'm very familiar with, and the devastation that is seen there and in St. Elizabeth and in other parts of Westmoreland, St. James, Hanover, and St. Elizabeth overall. It is mind-boggling. No pictures or videos can do justice for what you see when you are driving miles and miles. The smells of rotting carcasses, the flooded roads. Healthcare has been
Very bad, you know.
teetering on the border of collapse because of the situation at Cornwall Regional Hospital and the overcrowding in the feeder hospitals. What we are seeing now is an exacerbation of that situation, where Lucy Hospital, Noel Holmes Hospital, is pretty much non-functional. Up to over the weekend, there was no way of contacting hospitals for referrals. They would just get critical patients as fast as possible loaded into an ambulance and send them off with a hope and a prayer and what limited staff they can afford to send on that journey. The Black River Hospital has been devastated, and Salvamar Hospital, they have major infrastructural challenges, but even more so, the staff, they are also homeless. They are also living out of cars. Many of them are hungry, and many persons cannot provide health care because they do not have the resources. We appreciate that the government has now opened the NHS stores and has started to send out supplies. But we must not be fooled into thinking that a field hospital being set up means that it is an appropriate response to a catastrophe of this nature. A hospital is secondary care. There is no primary care in any of the affected parishes at the moment. This means that the clinics are closed. It means that diabetics, hypertensives, persons with heart disease, kidney disease, those who have a diabetic foot ulcer, they're not being treated. And it means that they're going to have exacerbations and complications of their diseases.
And also lose all them limbs as well.
Access to the hospitals have been flooding the hospitals.
And that would be negligent with this government.
Weeks,
But that's going to happen to them, you know, because them negligent already, incompetence already.
In 6 weeks, we can expect outbreaks of dengue and whatever else.
We are seeing right before our eyes.
Waiting for these appropriate conditions to manifest. The public health inspectors
see it right before your eyes.
need to be empowered immediately so that they can start
incompetent brass government.
They can inspect for water sources that they are potable, they have not been contaminated.
One of them are work and them not
Basic
fucking work.
materials such as food, temperature, thermometers must be provided. We must increase vector control activities immediately, and this is not just fogging, but source control. Otherwise, we're going to see a massive outbreak of dengue. The gastroenteritis from the consumption of spoiled foods, already we hear reports of persons eating rotted or rotting carcasses. And the unavailability of potable water will lead to diarrhea, dehydration, and in the most vulnerable, the elderly, the children, and the pregnant mothers, it may mean death. We do not know what the true death toll is from the hurricane, but what we can expect is that if these public health issues are not addressed immediately, we're going to see far more deaths occurring in the aftermath of the storm, in this man-made disaster, than what occurred during the passage of Melissa, the natural disaster we're here to speak about. We must head this off.
We must resource the hospitals. We must send relief staff to the hospitals. We must find a way to get health care in the communities that have been cut off up to recently and are still cut off. And the way we may fill that gap is by inviting and coordinating the hordes of volunteers who want to go in and give some health care. Medical missions have played a very important part in the provision of health care in far-flung communities. And it is this provision of primary care, the screening, the early intervention with the medications, the dressing of wounds, that have kept many persons from seeking health care at overcrowded hospitals. If we have dilapidated structures, if we have damaged structures that are understaffed, it is reasonable to ask that volunteers be coordinated to go and man these health centers in the rural communities through the different medical missions. So these things must be coordinated immediately. Organizations that want to donate food and especially water, they must be accommodated. I've had complaints and I've tested the system myself, and I don't want to be overly critical. That is not the tone I want to project here today. But those who want to give are being frustrated by the process. And what is happening is that they are trying to make the journey themselves. The roads are blocked up. On our mission on Saturday, one of the buses broke down and the relief bus took about 4 or 5 hours to make what would normally be a 2-hour trip to relieve the staff that were left on that bus. The roads have been congested, and it is frustrating persons who want to donate, but we must set up a proper distribution network so that those who are impacted the most, irrespective of their antecedents, they get the resources that they need. It means not simply focusing on one particular area, but accepting that this hurricane tore through the entire Western Jamaica, and we must not ignore the plight of those who are in one parish. If the information that came to us through the media came late and our attentions were already fixed on a particular area that was brought to the forefront of our consciousness. So in conclusion, my appeal is that we find a way to facilitate the donors of foodstuff, sundries, health supplies, and importantly, find a way to channel those who want to give service in the medical field so that we can organize relief missions to go to the communities that Nikisha spoke about, that Zulika spoke about, and others are bringing to the forefront of the nation's consciousness. We have to get medical missions into those communities, and we have to, they are coming with their resources, but there needs to be a greater collaboration between those entities and the government and the state agencies, as well as the opposition, because we have made ourselves available to work alongside the government. So again, we do not want to convert a natural disaster into a man-made disaster because of partisanship, but we should focus more on partnership. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. After a disaster like Hurricane Melissa, the most powerful tool we have is unity. When we are united in purpose, government and opposition, national and local leaders, NGOs, community groups, and private citizens, recovery happens faster. Resources are used better, and help reaches everyone who needs it. Disasters do not discriminate by constituency, status, or color, and so our response must also rise above any division. This is a time for collective responsibility. We all have a role to play. Government agencies, first responders, the private sector, faith-based organizations, non-governmental organizations, and our community leaders all have a part in building back stronger. When we bring our strengths together, we save lives, reduce harm, and make every recovery effort stronger and fairer. But unity must be matched with preparedness. We have to learn from what went wrong. Our shelters must be ready and suitable to receive people before the storm, with basic supplies, pre-positioned, and shelter managers available, trained, and ready to serve. In some instances across Jamaica, the list of shelter managers included persons who were deceased, had migrated, or were simply unwilling to serve. These are gaps we must correct. We must draw on the best practices of experts so that our communities become more resilient to future hazards. That means ensuring all stakeholders have a seat at the table. It means and includes government at both levels, our councillors, our mayors, our justices of the peace, and all who serve as stakeholders at the local level must have a seat at the table, including our opposition, who has not been included in any of these meaningful disaster preparedness or operational meetings. It is important at this time that all the logistics, all the utility companies, the private sector, the insurers, the small businesses, the donors and international agencies, that there must be a coordinated effort to make our recovery stronger. The media and communication platforms, academic institutions and technical experts, most importantly, our vulnerable groups and survivors themselves must have a seat at the table. When we work together, the benefits are clear. Lives are saved and harm is reduced through coordinated action. Needs are prioritized and duplication avoided so that no community is left behind. Resources are used efficiently by pooling transport, storage, and funding. Expertise is shared, combining technical skills and local knowledge. Vulnerable groups are protected, including children, the elderly, and persons with disabilities. Public safety and essential services are restored faster, helping communities to recover. And most importantly, trust is built because people can see fairness and transparency. If we are to build true resilience, collaboration cannot happen only in crisis. It must be part of how we operate every day. That means maintaining open communication channels, sharing information, coordinating resources, and planning together before the next disaster strikes. The opposition stands ready to work with the government to strengthen our systems and ensure that
I'm supposed to demand things instead of that wasn't a big, like when
on fair and transparent support in times of need. Let us commit
because
to
politics have a rule, you know.
And
But Andrew Wellness government that change it up every minute of the hour.
Jamaica is stronger.
Yeah.
And we lead with
and him wife as well. Like when I train to do them things there.
Accountability.
And when I have too much liar in on a party.
It is inevitable.
When I joke with life.
So
I
we'll
joke with
now
life,
open the floor
man.
for questions. If you have questions, please state the name of your media house. If you're online, you can indicate by using the raised hand icon. If you're in the room, please indicate. We'll get the microphone to you and we'll take your question.
Greetings. This question is for Mr. Buchanan and Miss Jess. All right, so I heard you speak about the relief supplies not being enough. Do you think that there is an act of sabotage at play there, any at all, in both constituencies or anywhere else, as a matter of fact?
All right, so I'll answer.
Sorry, I'm Jason Cross from the Jamaica Observer.
Thank you, Jason. I'll speak from Portland Eastern. I don't buy into conspiracy theories. If, and I know.
Well, that is not conspiracy. This is what I'm trying to say, you know. This is the thing we can't understand, you know. Because that is not conspiracy. Sit up now before our eyes right now. So the people are play politics. George Wright, who is not an MP, he's just a caretaker now because he get voted out. When the things them drop, him go with Chuck, him and him Rastland colleagues them, and gone with all the aids them and the food them with the people them bring on there. Dwayne Val said that today. And him are the really MP. So they say them play politics, and that is not conspiracy. That is not conspiracy. And that's why I try to say, the PMP them too soft. And if it was the other side on the GLP, they would say, oh yes, that is definitely conspiracy. And they're not gonna put it up with it, they're not gonna put up with it, they're not gonna have it. I saw them on the attack, you know. Especially Warmilton and them people. I would have ratted there, man. Because right before our eyes. And Joel has got a certain place and Aldo got a certain place. It's there. So what conspiracy in it? That's what I'm saying, you know. I don't know what go on. But from this election run, PMP does one at another teeth. It's only GLP have some rascal big teeth. A row and a row. Woo! Woo! Yeah, man. And them, I go on like some little puppy, little baby dog. Hey, hey. Yeah, I want to go on. A damn thing that I see, you know. Because the man asked a question when something well, and as far as if he answer the question, as far as when him say I go on, it's like some thing of that sort going on and point out something. So we not see nothing to point out. You know, if you don't keep on going like this, I will not give Rastland, like you know, wave the Rastland white flag and then JLP laugh all the way, you know, because them, the fourth, I mean, I know, we're not going to win back no election. Because once them take them have the time now, you know, 5 years, you know, and more than 5 years them have now, because them can delay the election now. So what chance you don't have? Unless something drastic happen, and it have to be a revolution or something. Let me tell you something, PMP. I not beat you know. I talk about constructive criticism. Because I'm a true PMP. Before you, Isaac, coming at this, believe you me. But I'm not too soft, brother. The journalist asks a perfectly right question. You take advantage of it. Oh, you come with a soft tone now. Oh, you're not going to buy into no conspiracy. That means you let the government off the hook. Foolishness. That's how I behave, you know. I don't understand. And a lot of people don't understand neither. We don't call it bullshit. And that I don't want to fucking look pan, you know. I don't know, you know. I just don't fucking know. I just don't fucking know. Believe you me. I don't understand. Nobody now Rastland take off them roaring Rastland cap and start to roar at these blood clot thief in JLP. When them actually thief the election, I wanna go and I say a clown. And that's the truth. Some black don't want to talk them things, you know, because look like, but they talk when it late. Me attack early because I see it. Some of my things set. So I'm not afraid because I'm not a friend in the party. When I want to hurt you, I either think that what supposed to talk, I'm supposed to talk. Yeah, man. No joke about that. What's going on? Sure.
I would say if that were the case, that would be very idiotic.
Well, that is the case. That is the case. It happened today with George Wright. And we're not going to hear that. I bet you're not going to really... the same question, answer we again, I'm going to choke on it, you know.
I'm just simply here to say, listen.
Because I don't know if a different country I live in.
Go hungry. Let me put it that way.
Yo.
And next week, we are go hungrier. And a hungry man is a hungry man. So if somebody is sabotaging, woe be on.
Somebody sabotaging, but they are sabotaging.
In the case
that makes sense to talk like that.
Northeast
But it's like I'm afraid for them.
I suspect it is perhaps a situation where the government has their hands entirely full.
Yeah.
I think it's quite an overwhelming.
Here's I want to know. Government have them hand full.
Unprecedented.
We're not too soft, man. We're not going to come like some clock. Yo.
Hurricane. And so I would hope that
them now for no shut of them people, you
in
know.
their right mind and operating with good
Nothing
heart
at all.
could deliberately wish to punish residents by withholding
PMP too soft.
food
I wouldn't
and
admit
other
it.
basic
I give a
necessities.
shit.
So I hope it is
Zero.
an oversight and
Come in a work like that.
which you have suggested.
Yeah, work like that.
Good afternoon, Camila Williams with Television Jamaica and Radio Jamaica 94 FM. I have two questions, and this goes out to, because this is about MPs, anyone I think can take this. So the first question is, how much money would MPs need to adequately respond to the need? And this is each. How much would each MP?
I understand what you mean. I hesitate to attempt to answer that with a specific number. The scale of the damage is unprecedented. It's not yet quantified. And it differs from constituency to constituency. So it doesn't permit of one answer per constituency. There is, however, a threshold that I think MPs could handle adequately and which could make a huge difference because of their connections on the ground. I think it's important for Jamaica to understand that members of parliament on both sides, councillors on both sides, have networks into communities in every nook and cranny of the country. There are very large national organizations that are not centralized in the capital like government is. They're diffused and they're across the island, and the information can flow. Once there's connectivity, the information as to where the needs are flows very quickly and easily right through up to me if necessary as leader, or the Prime Minister, I'm sure. So empowering members of parliament, as long as there are accountability measures in place to ensure that the money or the goods are accounted for adequately and properly, using that structure and the councillors is a very effective way of getting to people in need. We will partner with local organizations who we have relationships with on a day-to-day basis, churches in communities and other organizations on the ground to cover the ground where needed. Now, in terms of the amount of money, what has been proposed, we got 1.5 million allocated on the Saturday before the Melissa hit. I had reached out to the Prime Minister that morning about it. We had a meeting at OPM about it. We discussed it, and he said he was authorizing $1.5 million as a kind of pre-Melissa effort to prepare us to have something. And that was useful, and we did our best to prepare ourselves with that. Tarpaulins, water, foodstuffs. But of course, the scale of this is
Andrew, let's run a dictator country, man.
than any of us anticipated.
You know, afraid the people have money. A taxpayers' money, the people have money, you know. We are talking about this virtual thing, all them
I've
things.
been in dialogue with him. I believe he's going to announce another 1.5. I think cabinet was supposed to, for relief purposes, and they're looking at a $3 million for issues to do with cleaning up and the like. I've said to him that the bureaucracy, the administrative requirements as to how you spend that $3 million, and please, public, bear in mind, we don't get this in cash. These are allocations that allow us to trust, as it were, the services, the food stuff from suppliers, and then we send invoices to a state agency who pay them directly. We don't handle
Dictator country that, you know.
Now, 3 million, when you're faced with thousands of people who are homeless, is not an answer to that question. And I'm not sure that for the major, well, I should put it this way, for the major response to the housing and shelter needs of the people, and even the food and water needs, the MPs cannot be the sole solution. We don't have the capacity to deal with housing needs on that scale. That needs a national reconstruction program with a proper governance structure attached to it and well-resourced. But certainly, if you were to give MPs even $50 million each, that would be something we would be able to make that money count for the people and the people who need it. I'm just throwing that out as a number, but it's many, many multiples of the figures that are being discussed now. And, you know, one has to bear in mind the resource capacity of the country as well. And the government is in the best position to assess what that is. So, you know, we're getting, hopefully, the CRIF payments which have been committed, and we're expecting that the CAT bonds will also make a payment. The government hasn't yet confirmed that, though the media has been suggesting that it's a done deal. I hope it is, but we're waiting on the confirmation. And there are other funds that were in the budget and so on for national disasters. But bear in mind at the same time that there's been a calamitous hit to the economy. So going forward, we're going to see a contraction of the economy. We're going to see a contraction of government revenues. We're going to see a contraction of foreign exchange flows, potentially. On a net basis, with those flows coming in from insurance and so on, it's difficult to know where we stand. But I'm just saying the government has to assess that situation. But this is an unprecedented disaster. And I would be modification of the measurement of GDP.
Why BOJ? What's going on here?
We were supposed to get to the target of 60% of GDP this year, even though the law says we don't need to get there until March 2028. So we're going to get there 2 years early. So there is some fiscal space in the...
All right, so this is just one case. However, I would figure perhaps this might be a situation elsewhere. My question
28.
is, have you been seeing the issue of political partisanship affecting the distribution of relief? And I say this based on the conversation I had with a resident who said that a care package truck came to the community twice.
Is going on. And that's why it's so important that the structure, the command structure to manage the distribution of relief is not an ad hoc thing where, you know, a minister get a phone call and respond here, and then somebody else tug him shirt and him respond there. It needs a structure. It needs clear lines of communication. Right now, I got a report yesterday that 8 people were dead in a community in St. Elizabeth. And they were planning to do a mass burial because they're cut off. I can give you the name of the community. It's in my phone. I have reported it, which is not practical because he can't handle every single report. There is no proper command structure in place. They've put in the same old system that has applied under their leadership. leadership in the past. And I'm saying, listen, this is bigger than all that. This is much, much bigger than all that. And we need to have something that the people can have confidence in, a broad-based system with leaders from the private sector, leaders from the churches, leaders from the NGO sector. The opposition should be at the table. Roughly half of the country that are interested in the system of democracy voted for the opposition. And, you know, so to exclude us is not wise, because you're going to deprive yourselves of vital information, especially given that some of the most badly hit areas are areas where our representatives have been voted into office. So the structure needs to be put in place that's broad-based. There needs to be proper...
Thank you.
There's a question here online from Portland Spice TV. Are there members of the parliamentary opposition on the committees put together by the government to deal with the aftermath of the hurricane? The leader of the opposition addressed that, I believe. No, I was advised that I need to speak with someone as the elected representative to beg them to appeal on my behalf. So no, we're not at the table. We're not on these committees. We also have online Siobhan Campbell. His hand is raised. Siobhan, please unmute and go ahead with your question. Then we'll take another question.
You know. He's a narcissist. I don't want to hear him at all. Siobhan is a narcissist from Nationwide. He need to go bed. Never dress good. A big bellies. He look like he's sour. And that is the goddamn almighty truth. Yeah, man.
The national response, the immediate national response, has been slow and inadequate. The government has been acting.
Yes, people. Let's go to the next video now. We just cut that because when Siobhan come ask question now, I don't want even hear him voice. Because he's one of Nationwide nastiness and narcissist. Yeah. So here with Diane Jackson Miller say because she a punch and blow and a bow some wall other than the PMP. She a do what the PMP them should not do. And that's all it is. So big her up.
There seems to be a whole lot of self-congratulation not a lot of acknowledgement of the inadequacy of the response so far, and it has been inadequate. Here are the questions I asked. Minister, billions of dollars are going to be coming in terms of relief. Why have we not yet heard the announcement of an independent oversight committee to include, for instance, private sector, civil society, and opposition members to monitor the expenditure that is going to be done along with regular reporting to Parliament? What we don't want is an Auditor General's report 6 months after the fact.
This is one knockout punch question, you know. Yeah, man. Because them a PMP should not roll like this, you know. But anyway, big up yourself, Dan Jackson. Because this is one knockout punch question. They don't want to hear this, you know. They don't want to hear this. Yeah, man.
For whole heap of questions, I'll just ask a couple and yield to my...
That little moped woman there, with them, what's her name, Diane, anyway, her name not really interests me, because she's not a good person. You just call her a moped, simple as that. She can be identified when you say moped, because she is the communication minister for the GLP. So you just call her moped, Miss Moped.
Colleagues.
Sure. All right, please
May I continue?
Give me two more. Yes.
Thank you. Okay, second, I've been hearing everything that's been said. However, the national response, the immediate national response, has been slow and inadequate. The government has been acting as if it didn't know the kind of damage that a Cat 5 would have done. Why have we not seen immediate deployments of mass aid to the affected communities, along with things like immediate erection of warehouses to hold such aid, immediate erection of mass shelters and or evacuations?
Not like
and
those.
Then finally, for now, why had we not seen an equivalent in-time response to Westmoreland as there was to St. Elizabeth, seeing that that was where the eye of the hurricane made landfall? So it was obvious that there would also have been catastrophic damage there.
All right, thank you. Those are three questions, and Dion, it's good to have you here. Not
Well, you know about good to have you here.
I'm glad to have you, and those are questions you hear floating around, and I'm glad that we get a chance.
Well, good to have you here.
You
never want her there.
The funds that are coming in. Yes, we're going to get.
You just want to go tell some lie now.
From CRIF,
lie out her teeth.
The other policies that we have. I think tomorrow you need to listen out for the Prime Minister's announcements. There will be a body that will be overseeing that reconstruction work. That will
look on the classroom.
The Minister will name the members of that. There has been discussions, even with the leader of the opposition.
I lie you tell.
That could be the National Partnership Council.
We don't want that map it, man. I lie you, man.
Has the opposition there, that has civil society, has academia.
But I lie you, man. But my goal is just so.
Group of individuals that are in that partnership council. So one consideration is to use that partnership council that already exists with all of the key players and partners as that mechanism at the top. And it's going to be broader than just looking at how the funds are being paid. That committee is the one that's going to have to say, how do we build back? You know, we have communities that are close to the sea. What does rebuilding look like? Should we rebuild there? Should we rebuild somewhere else? And so there are big questions that we have to confront with as Jamaica. And the commitment the Prime Minister has made is that there will be an overarching body, whether you use an existing mechanism like the Partnership Council, or you use something that's new, a new body, but there will be an oversight body. Now, I left Cabinet early before it finished, not sure where they would have reached on it, but there has been discussions already in Cabinet on that one. The second one is about the immediate response being slow. I know Minister Vaz wants to answer, but so you can come forward, Minister Vaz. But as you come, just noting that a Cat 5 is a different category of a hurricane, and the devastation was significant. And as we've seen with many disasters around the world, and we've been looking at disasters around the world, how quickly you get to mobilize There is always that period of assessing what is happening and getting the aid in. Yesterday I saw Red Cross, I saw GEM, I saw the World Food Program out, and all of those are coordinated through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. And so there is a lot more happening, and you hear about the helicopters dropping food. It is, you know, after a hurricane like that, you have to assess and then re-establish new systems to get food out. And I think the team has been doing that. And I know Minister Vaz can tell you more about what has happened. And in terms of Westmoreland, everybody is important, and everybody
That woman look like a masquerade.
The Prime Minister
Believe
went
you
out
me.
for 2 days straight, and he went to all of the affected parishes. He went
Lie.
to St. Elizabeth, he went to Westmoreland,
But I will
he
lie
went
at
to
blood
Ceylon,
clot
he
man
went
this
to St.
man.
James, and he also eventually went to Manchester, and he went to
That woman a
Hamilton.
lie bad, you know.
So
That, anyway,
those first
you
2
see a
days after the hurricane,
communication
made sure
minister,
to go to all of
whether in a Caribbean or America, them always there as a puppet to tell lies.
Will answer the other. There is a committee that has been named
Lion Party.
Senator Keith Duncan.
Elston for lie.
Coordinate with private sector. That has been going on in earnest. We met all week.
J stand for Jamaica and P stand for party. So Jamaica Lion Party. Straight up, simple as that.
Outside of what the government apparatus has, I would say probably we are probably up to 300,000 square feet of additional warehousing that is going to be needed, because we're going to be staging from Montego Bay and Kingston, because that's where the two international airports are. I want to remind you who asked the question, and I want to remind Jamaica, tomorrow will be 6 days, because the hurricane hit on a Tuesday. So 6 days is where we are at now. And I can say to you that we have not only engaged the full private sector, and they are fully supported with their assets, with their money, and with their expertise, on top of which all of the international organizations and charities who have done this kind of thing all over the world are also at the table. We met for hours on Saturday, and they have done an assessment as to where we are and what we need to do. We cannot bypass the government systems and structures that are in place, but we can take advice and we can use them, and we are intending to do that. You will see a huge improvement this week, and you will see getting better every day going forward.
But
This
you're
government
honorable.
is committed.
Take off the
This
honorable.
government is competent to deal with it.
I just
and we have
call
more
you thief in
limitations
lion
as
balls.
a government and of course a structure, and we will get the support internationally and from the private sector jointly to deal with this in a comprehensive way, that at the end of it, when we rebuild, we'll be rebuilding for the future and fixing a lot of what problems there were for the last 60 years.
I just want to respond on the comments around the shelter and the relief supplies. I want to make it clear that prior to the hurricane season, all the municipal corporations meet with the ADPEM and the various agencies. There's a humanitarian committee of the National Disaster Council which meets almost every week. Relief items was placed in all parishes across Jamaica prior to the event. The parishes that are badly affected, all the facilities were destroyed during the hurricane. So it is not that the government did not. We have always placed relief items at strategic points across the country. Montpelier is a massive warehouse in Montego Bay, but access to the facility has been impeded because of the road conditions. And I want to make it abundantly clear that this administration is not incompetent. More than and we were incompetent, it will responsible, fucking we were lie. Proactive in preparing the country. Nobody can plan for a category 1 What or am I a saying? category 5 hurricane. Nobody can plan. Allah ya tell. And I
I'm saying without fear.
When I try to lose blood clot, get you off of the hook. Or me say nobody can plan. Wanna clean the drain them? No. Sandy Gully, one of the biggest rascal gully run through town from way from Barbican. Go right through Seaview. One of the biggest rascal gully. I want to clean it, peer rubbish in it and debris and black up so the water not now run freely. And all the people, most of the people also flooded on the low line. What cause it? Because the drain them don't clean. And you come talk about now with your big mouth. Nobody can prepare for your category 5 hurricane. People prepare for it. Only one never prepare for it. It happens anywhere in the world and people prepare for any disaster. But only in Jamaica and they don't want to come now. Run up on a big mouth and take people for idiot. Every drain clean. Some people also want to save. Some people never in this distress. I don't fucking know that. Because you clean a drain. And when water are poured down, it run smoothly and nothing to block it up. To ride over and start to ride over. So what you call that? Not negligent and incompetent. Look at him. Yo. Go on, yeah, man.
The government was prepared. We provide the necessary notice to the people. We say to the country that this thing is coming. Take the necessary precautions. We could not control God's hand.
Liar tell you too wicked and lie. Or now we'll get you with it, you know. They were showing up bad.
For clarity, that the first
And they see them pussy a face, you know. May I tell you.
was delivered to the west yesterday and should be up and running, if not tomorrow. Plus, we have several more that are coming. For water filtration plants, all of those are underway. We have, the world is helping us. Every country across the world and organizations, because they love Jamaica. So we have the support. What we need to do is just channel it and make sure that we maximize the efficiency of the implementation.
All right, our next question. Minister Charles wants to add something quickly to this. Yes. The questions that came.
Next ball, the liar one again. Watch him. They want to try to save skin, you know, save themselves, you know.
Disaster preparedness is something that has to be very strategic. What the Ministry of Labour and Social Security did is one of the examples where we actually, before the hurricane, worked with the JDF to move several of our items out of the warehouse up to Upper Camp to keep them safe. It's one of the reasons why, despite pre-positioning thousands of packages across the country, particularly in St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland and others, we couldn't do all, because you have to contemplate the fact that as a Cat 5, it will actually affect your warehouse and your shelters, as it did for some of the things pre-positioned in Westmoreland, where it was so bad that we lost some of the items. So the reality is we have a very strategic approach, which includes working with our humanitarian assistance partners.
So if you lost some of the items, why don't show it? All them things there, you know, in a first world country, they're going to show it. This is going to be a racket again. They find all different type of way to chop and steal, you know. You know, one of the government, one on the video for sure is going to lose some of the item. Whatever video item on the last, you're not supposed to video it and show the location. With them people can't be trusted, you know. No shape or form. Look at him. Boy.
We have 6 mobile storage units across the country now from World Food Program, another 8 on their way, which will make 14. The Food for the Poor also have massive containers that they are strategically positioning in close proximity to the areas that are greatly affected. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security and government are working also to expand our storage and to expand our production of packages. And we have pushed those out in delivery with our partners. We have right now, Minister, a compilation of perhaps more than 40,000 packages when you look on the bulk items that we have that will be available to us over the next 2 to 4 weeks. So I say that to say that it's not just quick response. We do have rapid response, but it's not just quick response. It's strategy towards long-term recovery.
All right, so I guess I didn't like my questions, but was I satisfied with the responses? Absolutely not. So I asked again. My questions weren't answered. I'm going to repeat.
Yeah, no answer to my question. What are
There
please?
has been an obvious and
No,
concerned
they were going on this question.
in the immediacy of response to Westmoreland as compared to St. Elizabeth. I'm asking why, and with the absolute respect, saying that everybody...
No, answer the fucking question.
...response to that concern. Secondly, the response that warehouses were pre-positioned before the hurricane doesn't answer my question as to the slowness of the response once the hurricane had passed.
Yeah.
In getting in aid, in putting in warehouses or whatever it takes, as well as in providing shelter and or evacuation. So those questions have been answered. And then 2 new ones. One, I'm not hearing an acknowledgement of the fact that there is a crisis in terms of fuel in Western Jamaica, and whether there is some kind of special initiative to deal with that situation. Like all of my colleagues, I've been in the field. I was in Sav yesterday, in Westmoreland yesterday, saw Senator. The gas stations are mobbed with individuals with containers as well as with long lines of cars. You can't get no gas until you basically reach back to Kingston. I'm not hearing a specific initiative to address that problem. And finally, I am not hearing any indication of what sounds like a bipartisan effort to deal with this issue. The government, just from looking on, seems to have almost entirely shut out the opposition.
Yeah.
Notwithstanding your comment about an informal conversation over the phone.
And then the fucking couldn't answer the question. I go on it, I look at my pedal man there. Answer the question. Put it on them, Diane.
All right, thank you for...
Put pressure on them.
It has to be an all of Jamaica effort, and I think the Prime Minister has not acknowledged that. On the Saturday before the hurricane came, the Prime Minister invited the leader of the opposition to Jamaica
Lie again.
to be briefed. He was briefed by Minister of
Briefing
Labour,
is not
briefed by
involving.
Evan Thompson.
You
They
damn
got
fool.
several individuals from government briefing on the preparations for...
You saw them people can go around things and spin things. Eh? Or shall mix up 2 things in one? They shut out the opposition completely. Margol and talk it, everybody are talking, everybody see it. And now shall come tell lie, barefaced lie. No evidence of what you talk about. A briefing and contacting somebody and briefing somebody is not nothing to do with involving them in the operation. So what shall I say, sir? Still a spin. Still a go round. Well, I mean, I tell these people, you know, I mean, sometimes they want to listen to them, and I just want to just dissect it and bore some all night.
And the government took those on board, and I think that's an important signal of intent to have the opposition
Intent
be a part of the activities.
So you see again, what intent? So them talk to the opposition, but the opposition is doing involving and nothing. So intent, you come and see, she shot herself in her foot again. That is true intent. Intent is not reality.
I
big
know
mafia woman,
that
you
the leader
fool,
of
you
the
fuck.
opposition is in contact with the Prime Minister on a daily basis. I know that.
Contact. So what contact to do with it? Contact do him not involved in the operation as a partisan. No. Who think she can pull out a big head map head woman that come from, man? And them people that come here run Jamaica business. They come and tell BFS lie. Intent. Instant phone call every day. What that have to do with involve in the operation. Even when Andrew Wallace got a blood clot flying in the helicopter, Mark Golden is supposed to deal with him. He's supposed to invite him. The two of them supposed to fly and go from place to place in the helicopter, one move. Because people vote for him and people vote for you. People vote for the opposition, people vote for the Labour Party. So we are coming to about woman. Shut the shit up, man. I want to get a good hairstyle.
That is happening. And so this notion that we're not going to be bipartisan is not correct. We're the government. We have to.
It's more than correct. It's too damn lie, man. We don't want your fucking mouth.
But we also need to say this is a Jamaica effort.
But they'll come back to Arnhem again. Don't worry, no.
We have the opposition that we have said is going to be a part of the oversight body. We have had to be working through a lot of the MPs.
They should be damn involved long time from day one. Oh man, you fool. Uno won the country. People vote for the opposition. You get more vote than Uno. So them should not involve from day one. We are talking about, yo. Sure.
MPs in order to get aid out. They're very important partners in this. Minister Charles is constantly on the phone with them. Darrell Vaz is constantly on the phone with them. So there is a channel that is open to the opposition, and the opposition is feeding into it. And so
which channel can open today? If we not bring them in, then people lie bad, and wicked, people. Them bare face in your face. Andrew Wallace do it every day, and my father suit. Because now they are not get the answer with sharks, Because people go around them around and a spin thing, And I tell you about contact. Contact is not involvement. And that woman I ask you. But you still tell lie. But you're gonna backfire upon Uno, you see? And I'm telling you, when it backfire upon Uno gonna wish you never born. Believe you me. Uno go on. Because this is a wake-up call for Uno, Jamaica people as well, but mostly Uno. We are going to angry so much billions because we have plan to chop money again from the disaster fund. And people are stopping and people are going to get what they're supposed to get. On a piece of shit. Yeah.
We are going to, in our rebuilding, we're going to have everybody on board. The private sector, the opposition is going to be important, and on a sectoral basis. We're going to also have to work with the opposition, and I think that is
but we should have worked with them already from the start.
For everyone to see, and it's not just me; it is the entire government. You spoke about the slowness of the response.
I'll know you should answer the question again. 2 times you should get the question then. And you can't answer them the second time.
Was a CAT-FEB, and I'll tell you from my experience being at ODPEM and doing the briefings every single day. Every day, the path shifted. We were expecting it to enter maybe closer to Kingston, then it shifted to maybe Clarendon, then it shifted to maybe closer to Mandeville.
Yeah, I know. She turned the weather woman now. Boy. The woman turn weather woman now. All the way she attack us now not relevant, Whether the hurricane did come there, sir, and it shifted. What the fuck that have to do with nothing, woman? Maphead woman, you run out of steam. But a load of bullshit. And this is way people, this is the government the people have rule them. Yeah? Them are the people. Them are the people that have oversee them. Imagine that. We want to talk something now where now answer the woman question again because that is nothing to do with what she asks her. Now she talk about hurricane and move this and move this. So what the fuck that have to do with nothing? Because they run out of steam in it. They run out of argument. Them can't, that's what you call spin doctor, you know, people. This is what you call spin doctor. When you ask them a question and then they can't answer it, you ask them two, 3 times they can't answer it, them go around and where she depend now. Listen to what she talk about. What she talk make any sense?
And then as it kept going west, we had those who were praying, oh my goodness, it looks like it's going to miss Jamaica.
What the fuck that have to do with it?
You know, as it
What that have to do with the question that the one ask you? You're like a lava mouth, man.
Closer on the morning, and remember the rain started from before, we saw where it was going to probably be parity. And we said, everybody who's in that path, you need to move out of that path. It wasn't until in the morning of the storm that we really had a clearer picture of what this hurricane was doing. This hurricane was not a normal hurricane.
We all know that already.
In terms of it just stalking Jamaica for days, it was not normal. And so it entered where we were not necessarily expecting. And if you go back and look at the reports,
and we look like whether people them tell you where to go reach, you know. Everybody expect where to go reach, you know. Them talk it out.
Where it would enter Jamaica and where people even say
the
maybe
weather
it's not going to hit
forecast
Jamaica.
and them forecast the thing where to go and now shut about. They never know where to go.
And even if you go to the day before, even if you look at some of the models,
get them fool
they
people
said
up
Jamaica, it would weaken before it made landfall in Jamaica. That was being reported by the scientists. But it did not weaken. It got stronger right before it came.
But it's not the question the woman asks you. I'll know, you know, answer the question. We are doing this, sir. Talk about the hurricane. The hurricane come and gone. We are talking about the aftermath now, the cleaning up operation. You saw the people can't, you see the spin doctor them? Dangerous people them, you know. She gone way off the mark, attack something completely different. And it sounds so stupid and fool. Yo, no sir.
Came to Jamaica. So that category 5 devastation, 185 miles an hour wind, that is really, really hard for anyone to plan for. And so the government has had to do what it can do in order to provide the support as quickly as possible. Given our terrain, we're not a flat country, we have mountains, we have rivers. And remember, this hurricane didn't just come with wind. It came with record rainfall.
Well, we take a good look on your bomber wall face.
So the first thing we have to do in terms of
Watch
getting to the communities is to open the roads. And that's what Minister Morgan's focus.
She all over the place now, you know.
Then after
all
that,
over the place.
Working with all of
she run out of steam. She don't know what to say, what to do.
Agencies and partners to get them into Jamaica, to help them to support us.
No man asks her nothing about them things she talk about, you know. A simple, straight question.
And so we've done it as quickly as we can now. The marooned communities are really the big concern.
Boy.
And we are doing a lot now that we have all the helicopters from JDF and we have from our international partners, we are able to do more food drops than we could before.
Boy.
So there's a lot that has happened, and I want you to talk about fuel too. The fuel one, I'm sorry Minister Vaz had to leave because we were talking about fuel just now.
Well, you can have a run in it.
About since we started clearing.
As an idiot, you take idiot one. Pure Lima come tell now, you know. I know I have no evidence to back it up.
Vulnerable persons. Meaning emergency services, whether it be ambulances, whether it be first responders and so on.
You know, where them get my idiot for him, and them my idiot Jamaica make put them run them way.
So the first
but them allow them to spread and grow.
Vehicles,
so it's hard to get rid of them now.
People walk foot can go through. That was a very difficult task, especially going through Bamboo Avenue. I don't know if you remember, we had the JDF in there, we had the NWA in there, we had people with cutlasses, we had people intertwined. Bamboo is not something that I can just put a backhoe in and push away because it's very difficult. So we got through Bamboo Avenue, then we went to places like Middle Quarters, where all the light poles were underground, all the trees were underground. So we had to cut through that. We had people at...
I didn't have no video to show him at all about it. They never have no evidence.
JDF had
just come with them big, long, dirty mouth.
An example. All the doctors
Watch him and look on him notes
the
them.
hospital lost their
Just
homes.
write something to come chat for
A community beside the hospital. So the first responders that you had situated in the space who would serve not just Black River but also Westmoreland, because the other hospital would be in Sav, so you have hospital in Black River, hospital in Sav, and people in between go to each. So our first priority was to provide access to rescue those people. After we did that first single lane rescue, and the NWA was able to create a path to Savannah Lamar incrementally. So the first major town we went to, which is maybe why people perceive that there is bias, is Black River, because Black River is on its way. So we're coming from Montego Bay, we're coming from Manchester. We reach Black River first. We see the damage there. That's the first thing that comes out into the public, right? So everybody says Black River is destroyed. Nobody has yet been able to go to Westmoreland because all the roads are blocked. And even flying over, you would not see the full damage because there's no communication. I did not know the extent of Westmoreland's damage until we were able to get people in and get JDF to fly over Westmoreland. We still haven't reached the tanker issue yet. It is only over the last 2 days that we've been able to confidently tell the gasoline haulage contractors that it is now safe for you to drive to Savannah Lamar. Because they said they're not driving under any JPS light pole. So we had to work with JPS to remove those light poles. They're not going to drive against anything that could puncture their tanks. So I went yesterday with heavy equipment behind me. Not because the NWA is not doing a good job, but
so we're the evidence.
Confident to convince
Liar
the
boy.
ministry that, listen, we can take the tankers now. The other point is, Dion, some of the gas stations are destroyed. The gas station on the coast in Black River does not exist anymore. The only gas station that exists in Black River is the one, that is not in the town. It's on the outskirts of the town. Right? The other gas station is not in a good condition. The gas station in Westmoreland is also destroyed. So the issue you're having is not just the availability of bringing in gas into the community, but also where are you going to safely store that gas? And that's a medium-term problem, because you can't just send a tanker in there and park it on the side of the road and say, come and buy some gas. When we were driving through yesterday, we had full tanks of gas. And it was not until we reached Boot in St. Anne that we found a gas station that was open late. Yes, there were other gas stations that we heard were open in the day, but because of the nature of what has happened, because of the lack of electricity that is typical for the entire section of the island, a lot of gas stations are closed early. So those are things that we're going to have to work with. But what I can confidently say now is that for the gas stations that are able to take fuel, the retailers, the haulage contractors are now willing to traverse that area. They weren't confident to travel through Black River, go to Sav before yesterday, because there were still impediments on the road. I hope that explains it.
But I want to hear more of this little liar boy, Nesta Morgan, because I'm too liar and wicked. Well, I know him alone, the whole of them, but I feel like they come tell. Because I'm talking, I have no evidence to show as a government minister, and that don't look so good. People say, well, all right, he have a video, he might drive, so why you not video something and show? Because that's what everybody do. Peer pack of lies, I tell. And, it is fucked up. Peer pack of lies, I tell. From head to bottom, from bottom to head, there are peer pack of liars them. Anyway, people, as I'm saying, I do this video last night. Somebody reported. I have 1,657 people. And, all right, they report the fucking thing because that's all black people stay. But them to report, them not report, But at the end of the day, them can't get me down and get me weary. So I come back and do it back again. Last night is more hardcore, right? Because I was into it. But because them say, well, let me break YouTube community guideline, we just leave it. Fuck it. So we out and running, out and gunning. Big up each and every one who passed through upon this chapter. Guide and protection. Boom, and we out.
A big sound, a play a big tune.
Jah Holy Emmanuel, I, boy. Jah Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. Well, Gideon go busting out them head again. So much oppression poor people face right now. Them crying out for freedom. Them crying out for free speech. Then said them want to stand up like them black liberators, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther and the ancient monarchy where come pave the way, sir. Free up black people from me tear down them fence, yeah. Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon. The Gideon, I'm a Gideon, well, the Gideon go busting out them head. I listen, I the power of the Trinity. Give us the teaching of His Majesty, and we know war, not devil philosophy. Not until for man's skin is abnormal, significant, well, to the color of his eye. Remember all the war long in 1935.
On Sticky Stocky TV. If your finger is not sticky, subscribe. But if your finger sticky, do not subscribe on Sticky Stocky TV. Big up yourself, King Gaga, straight.